Morning OHS. This is the concert band. This is comprised mostly of freshmen, and we have a few seniors that cadet with this group. My name is Mrs. Yeager, and I teach the bands and jazz studies and percussion ensemble here at OHS. We have 3 selections for you today. The first is called The Curly-Headed Plowboy. It's a third movement from a suite of English country dances by Pierre LaPlante. And Pierre LaPlante is a composer who actually lives in the Oregon area, but he is world famous. So it's kind of neat to have a hometown person represented on the program today. Our second piece is called Night Song, and there's a lot of interpretation for you that can be left up to your imagination. It very much paints a musical picture for the listener of a setting at night of your internal choosing. So we hope you enjoy that one too. And then our last one is called Rocket Ship by Kevin Day. Kevin Day is a newer and up-and-coming composer. He's probably one of the most prolific African-American young composers that's writing for wind bands today. So those are our 3 selections for you. We'll start with The Curly-Headed Plowboy. Okay, so wasn't that beautiful? Yeah, so tell us like what kind of things does that conjure for you, students? Like just throw some, like what images, what kind of things did you see in your brain? Swirling wind, fog. Did I hear dark clouds? Disney? Nice. Did anybody have any emotions that came to mind? Scary? Any happy ones out there? Epic? Sad? Did anybody feel sad during that song? You did? Okay. Yeah. You cried a little bit. On the inside, I bet, right? Yeah. Okay. So the point is, thank you for talking with me a little bit. So the point is that it's up to everybody's interpretation, right? That's the beautiful thing about music. It's also the beautiful thing about art. Did anybody go to the art exhibition over the last couple of days yet? If you haven't checked out the art exhibition, please do so in the art gallery. Art, music, it's all up to interpretation. One person might see something completely differently than another. And one person might hear something completely differently than another. How many of you, I know this is like a super loaded question, but how many of you listen to the exact same type of music as your parents? Okay, I see some hands, and so either you have really cool parents or you're really cool, okay? So anyway, the point is that all music is up to interpretation, right? And like, I used to listen to, when I was 17, I used to pretty much like exclusively listen to like Snoop Dogg and Tupac. And my father, every time he had to like get in my car to move my car, he'd be like, I don't understand why you listen to this trash, right? And I'm like, Dad, it's got a sweet beat to it, right? I'm trying to explain this to him, why I like that style of music. But to him, it just wasn't his thing, right? It was my thing at the time. And I still love that music, but I also love this music too. So it's like food in a way, that you want to vary the tastes that you have, right? Like keep your mind open, keep your ears open, keep your eyes open to what's happening in the world around you, and stay curious about it. Ask questions about it, think about it, let it sink in, right? Instead of just saying, oh, I only like this one type of music, or I only like this one type of art, or this one type of food. I'll only eat chicken nuggets for the rest of my life. That sounds like a sad existence to me, but that's okay. All right, so our last piece that we have for you is called Rocket Ship. We're gonna play it in just a second. Does anybody have questions about the instruments that they see on stage today? Like you're not sure what it is or you want to know more about it? Because there are a couple out here that are not traditional, like they're not always included in the band. And I wonder if there's some people that might have questions about it. Let's go back here. Go ahead, nice and loud.
What's the thing on the left? The far left.
Is that Henry back there? All right, Henry, good question. So, Abby, can you tell them about this instrument really quick?
So this is a contrabass clarinet. I usually play B-flat clarinet like these lovely people are playing. But this transposes the same, which basically means that you can read the same music and play with the same, the same fingerings, and it comes out with the same notes. It's just, I believe, 2 octaves lower. So you've probably seen bass clarinets. This is just a step below a bass clarinet.
Thanks, Abby. And going along with that, I'm going to come over here because Lee is also playing a type of contra bass, but it's called a contra alto, okay? June, can you hold up your clarinet just real quick? So this is like the standard regular B-flat clarinet, and then the next is the alto clarinet, which is like halfway in between a regular clarinet and a bass clarinet, and then there's a bass clarinet, and then there's the contra alto clarinet, which is an octave lower than the alto clarinet. Go ahead and hold it up, Lee. So it's getting closer to the size of Abby's, okay? Lee also plays this regular size clarinet as well. And then after this clarinet comes that one, just in size. So they go from like smaller to bigger to bigger to bigger. What other questions do you have? Yeah, right there. Yes, okay, so there are also like crazy instruments in the world that there's only like a handful of them, like the sub-contrabass saxophone that literally lives in a museum and only gets checked out to the best players in the world for like certain performances. It's ridiculous. So these instruments are, I mean, probably six figures, like $200,000 a piece, because they're all handmade, hand-hammered, right? But they sound so low that you almost can't hear it, you can only feel it. Isn't it? Yeah, so like when you get in your car and you put on like a really great, like a song that has really great bass to it, and you like feel it more than you really hear it, that's kind of what those sub-contrabass instruments sound like. So, okay, we'll take one or two more questions? Yes, back middle. Oh yeah, the chimes. Can you wave, Cameron? Cameron, go ahead and play the chimes real quick. Just play a couple notes. Sound familiar? Sounds like kind of like church bells, right? So those are called the chimes or the tubular bells. Was that what you were talking about? Did I get your question answered? Okay, cool. All right, one more question? Yes.
What's the gold one that Will Smith played?
That is the Barry saxophone. Go ahead and hold it up, Will. So that is the lowest. That's the lowest saxophone in the family that is like traditionally written for concert band. But there are lower saxophones than that one. The next one down from that is the bass saxophone. We don't own a bass saxophone, but my husband who teaches band in Madison at Vel Phillips Memorial High School, if you know anybody who's in band over there, they have a bass saxophone. So it's lower even than that one. Nobody in Wisconsin owns a sub-contrabass saxophone. But if you go online and you look up some of these like crazy instruments, it's really fascinating. So, all right. I think with that then, we're gonna finish up with our last song, Rocket Ship by Kevin Day. Check him out. Check out these composers if you get a chance, because they're doing some really cool stuff. OHS, thanks for being a great audience, okay? Have a good rest of your day.